Welcome to the Maryland Means Business Podcast. It's Friday, which means we get to close out the week with a good one.
It's a fun rundown today, too. We've got a food hall opening its doors, a chunk of state money aimed at training the workforce, and a company that basically has one of the great Maryland business stories of the decade.
3 stories, 3 completely different flavors of good news. I love a Friday like this.
Me too. It's the kind of rundown where you finish it and you actually feel better about the week than when you started, which is sort of the whole point of this show.
That last one, I've been waiting to talk about this all week. But let's ease into it. Chessie, you want to start us off with something delicious?
Always. Let's go to Glen Burnie.
Glen Burnie, home of
the newest Wonder Food Hall as of Thursday. They cut the ribbon at 891 Cromwell Park Drive at 10:30 in the morning. And honestly, a Thursday morning ribbon cutting for a food hall is a good sign. It means they're confident enough in the lunch crowd to open on a weekday instead of waiting for a splashy weekend.
And for anyone who hasn't been to one of these yet, walk us through what Wonder actually is, because I don't think everybody knows the concept.
So it's a food hall, but a big one. More than a dozen restaurants under one roof. Pasta, tacos, Thai, the whole map, basically. All in one building, so nobody in your group has to compromise.
That is the eternal food court problem solved. Nobody has to be the person who doesn't feel like Thai today. Everybody just walks to their own counter and meets back at the table.
Exactly. And they made opening day a real event, too. First 100 orders over $10 got a swag bag.
Smart. Get people in the door, get them buying something right away, and give them a reason to tell their friends before they've even finished eating.
It works. And here's the thing, Cal. This is not a one-off grand opening. Wonder is not slowing down at all.
How many of these do they have going at once?
They've already got a second Maryland opening lined up in Bowie on Excelsior Drive, targeting late July.
So give it a couple weeks and Wonder will have 8 locations across the state.
8. That is real expansion, not just a single lucky location that happened to catch on.
I like a company that just keeps opening doors. It tells you the model actually works, not just the first time, but over and over in different counties.
Glen Burnie today, Bowie by the end of the month. Somebody in Anne Arundel and somebody in Prince George's are both about to have a new lunch spot. And honestly, a food hall is a great way to introduce a dozen small food businesses to a whole new crowd of regulars at once.
That's a good point. It's not just Wonder that wins here. It's every restaurant under that roof getting foot traffic they wouldn't get on their own in a standalone storefront.
Exactly. It's a rising tide kind of setup.
All right, from lunch to the classroom, sort of. Chessie, this next one is more my speed, I'll be honest.
I had a feeling. Go ahead. Give us the numbers. That's your whole personality this segment.
Fair. Governor Moore announced $1.23 million this week for a program called the Maryland Lighthouse Industries Upskilling and Reskilling Program.
That is a mouthful of a name.
It is, but the idea behind it is simple. Train Maryland workers for the jobs that AI and new technology are actually creating right now, not the jobs of 10 years ago. We're talking life sciences, tech, aerospace, defense, manufacturing.
And this isn't just one class somewhere, right? Because $1 million spread too thin doesn't do much.
No, it's spread across 7 different organizations statewide, and each one has its own lane. Maryland MEP is running manufacturing training, so factory workers across the state can get up to speed on AI fundamentals. The University of Maryland College Park is handling aerospace and defense training down in Southern Maryland.
That's a nice pairing with our aerospace corridor down there.
Right, it feeds directly into it. Then BioBuzz Networks is covering life sciences training statewide. Davis Unlimited Information Technologies is doing cybersecurity training in the Capital Region and Central Maryland, and HubZone Council is teaching quantum and AI skills across the Capital Region, Central Maryland, and Western Maryland.
That is a lot of ground covered for one grant.
It really is. Technology Advancement Center and the Fearless Institute rounded out with cybersecurity training statewide. All told, the funding is expected to support close to 600 people.
600 people getting trained for where the jobs are actually headed. I like that a lot more than just a press release with a big number on it.
The governor's line was that Maryland is setting itself up to lead the nation in this changing economy, and workforce training is the unglamorous part of economic development that actually decides whether the new jobs we keep talking about on this show get filled by Marylanders or by people who have to move in from somewhere else to take them.
Cal, look at you getting philosophical on me over a training grant.
It happens sometimes. This stuff genuinely matters to me. Every time we cover a company adding hundreds of jobs, the question I always have is, who actually fills those seats? This is the answer to that question.
It's the connective tissue story. Not as flashy as a ribbon cutting, but it's the reason the ribbon cuttings keep happening with local hires instead of imports.
Well put. All right, your turn. I saved the big one for you.
This is the one I've been sitting on all week, so let's do it right. Cal, have you ever watched a company go from basically nothing to a Nasdaq ticker?
Not in real time, no. That's usually the kind of thing you only hear about after the fact.
Well, Montgomery County has been watching it happen, and MCEDC just hosted a whole fireside chat about it this week. The company is X Energy, and the numbers on this one are wild.
Give it to me. Don't make me wait.
Okay, in 2019, X Energy had fewer than 50 employees. Today, they're over 1,000.
Wait, say that percentage again, because I ran it in my head and I don't believe myself.
Almost 1,900% growth in 7 years.
That is not a company. That is a rocket ship.
And it gets better. They took the company public, an IPO on Nasdaq that raised more than $1 billion.
$1 billion with a B.
With a B. And along the way, Amazon came in as an investor 3 separate times in 2023, 2024, and 2025.
Amazon doesn't write one check to a company it's not serious about, let alone 3 checks across 3 separate years.
No, it does not. And here's the part I love, the hometown part. Instead of taking all that momentum somewhere flashier, somewhere with a bigger name on the map, X Energy is consolidating its 2 Rockville offices into a brand new 125,000 square foot headquarters at Washingtonian Center in Gaithersburg.
So they're not just staying, they're staying and building bigger, right here in the county that watched them grow up.
Staying, keeping 260 existing employees, and planning to create more than 525 new jobs over the next 6 years.
525 jobs from a company that had fewer than 50 employees this same decade. That is the whole story of what a growth company can mean for a county in one sentence.
And Carol Lane, their Senior Vice President of Government Affairs, said it best at the fireside chat. She said, "We will be in Montgomery County and Maryland for a long time."
That's the sentence every county economic development office dreams of hearing from a company that just went public.
It really is. A lot of companies hit a Nasdaq IPO, and that's when they start looking around at other states with flashier incentives. X Energy did the opposite.
Fewer than 50 people to 1,000 to $1 billion IPO to breaking ground on a bigger headquarters 2 miles from where they started. If you wanted to design the perfect Maryland growth story, you'd struggle to write it better than that.
And Kelly Schultz, who runs the Maryland Tech Council, moderated the whole conversation.
Going from 50 people to 1,000 people in 7 years means rebuilding the company from scratch every year or 2. That is not a smooth ride, even when the outcome looks this good from the outside.
Which makes the ending even better. They didn't just survive the scaling. They came out the other side with a Nasdaq listing and a decision to double down on Montgomery County instead of cashing out and leaving. Genuinely one of my favorite stories we've covered.
All right, let's tally up the week, because that is a genuinely great note to end on. 3 stories, 3 counties, 3 completely different kinds of win.
A food hall in Glen Burnie giving Maryland its 8th wonder location, with a 9th already on the way in Bowie.
State money getting close to 600 Marylanders trained across 7 organizations for the jobs actually being created right now.
And a company that went from fewer than 50 employees to $1 billion Nasdaq IPO, choosing to build its next chapter right here in Gaithersburg instead of anywhere else.
A grand opening, a training grant, and a Nasdaq success story that decided to stay home and grow. 3 totally different shapes of good news, all in the same 7 days.
That's really the whole mission of this show in one sentence.
Not a bad Friday rundown at all. That is our show. If you enjoyed this, follow Maryland Means Business on Spotify so you never miss an episode. And head to marylandmeans.business to join the newsletter.
One quick note before we go. This show is researched, written, and voiced with AI, and every story comes straight from the sources in our show notes, so you can always check our work.
Because around here, we only keep score of what is going right. Thanks for listening.
And remember, Maryland means business.